event-based marketing and how to keep your sponsors happy. Everybody. Did I just say everybody weirdly? It is March Madness, and I'm waiting a call from Syracuse University. You never know. I may have some eligibility left.
He showed up ready just in case.
We're wrapping this up quickly today because I'm going to get back in front of the TV. We've got the DOYO Live March Madness bracketology going right now, sponsored by Kashmiri and Associates. We got like 50 people that are playing to win a $2,500 sponsorship to DOYO Live right now. Plus, second and third place gets tickets to the conference.
Oh, nice!
And guess what? I'm in second place.
Perfect.
So then how is your bracket?
My bracket is a little blown up.
Did you have Arizona?
Loyola probably blew a lot of brackets up yesterday. Yeah. I did not. I did have Arizona winning as well, which I think a lot of people did. So you don't.
I did not. I did not.
Okay.
No.
If I win, I'm going to have to give that sponsorship away, like, judiciously, like, pick somebody.
Yeah.
Like, we'll spin the wheel.
Maybe give the person in last place, because they obviously aren't very good at
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
There we go. Anyway.
Consolation prize.
So, this is officially the DOYO Live Marketing Show, coming to you live from Stone Fruit Coffee. We have K Squared.
That's us.
Marketing back for a second time, by the way. First time with me.
Oh, yes. Because last time we were on with Jayetta Jackson.
That's right. You got it.
When you did the 31 days of lives or
that
something.
That was exhausting. We've got Kollin and Kelsey.
Hi.
Thank you so much for dropping by. I really appreciate it. We're going to talk about some things that you know a lot about. And so let's build some context around event-based marketing. Talk a little bit about your background, what you were doing before you started your agency, and talk a little bit about now. So why you have so much expertise in this area.
Yeah, so we started out working for JAC Live at the Covelli Centre. We still consider them part of our family. We love them. But obviously they're the ones behind all of the great events at Covelli Centre.
They just had a sold-out Judas Priest concert last night.
Yeah.
And then they were rolling into, what's tonight? Earth, Wind, and Fire is tonight. And
favorite Earth, Wind, and Fire song? Putting you on the spot.
Probably September. I mean, it's gotta be, right?
No.
I would say that too. And like we saw so many shows at our tenure at the Covelli Centre. I was there for 6 years. Kelsey was there for 8. So we saw a ton of really great shows. Earth, Wind, and Fire is still one of my top 5 favorite shows.
Really?
Amazing.
That is awesome.
They are like, I think they're like in their 70s and they're like hopping around stage and they sound great still. They are a great time. And they're really nice people too.
Yeah. That's even better when people are good people. So one of the things I want to come back to is butts and seats. But before we do that, obviously having all that experience of marketing and finding sponsors and things of that nature, let's talk about K Squared.
Oh, sure. Yes. So like Kelsey was starting to say before I went off on my tangent about being a fan of music. So Kelsey and I both, we started out in live events. So we worked at Covelli Centre for, collectively 8 years, and Kelsey was more on the event marketing side of things, and I worked in strategic sponsorships. So I was in charge of all of the in-arena advertising and the various sponsorships throughout the building as well. And through our experience there, we sort of honed our skill sets and everything from strategic sponsorship to event marketing and corporate marketing as well. And that's sort of where our business model came to fruition, is through our various experiences at the Covelli Centre.
And we're a boutique firm, so we only take on a select amount of clients because we really feel, DOYO being one of them, because we really want to be able to focus all of our energies towards the clients in the projects that we take on. So that's sort of what distinguishes us from
marketing strategy, marketing management, consulting, digital and direct, not just digital.
Correct.
I mean, we're talking about a integrated marketing strategy to really help with business growth, business objectives, that sort of thing.
Right, and sort of quarterbacking your entire process. So be it the RFP process,
part-time marketing, part-time business consultant, part-time psychologist.
Right.
No.
You know what? I feel like sometimes, anytime you like throw consulting in as something that a service that you provide, it does turn into some sort of counseling.
So, yeah. All right. So
is fine.
that's awesome stuff. And come out the gate swinging, doing an amazing job. And it was Jay's. I know when you formed, and then was just trying to follow along that progress. So we'll talk about our relationship here maybe a little bit later on the DOYO Live Marketing Show. I'm so glad that you're here. We're live at Stone Fruit. I want to talk about your time at the Covelli Centre and what were some of the things that you did to get butts in seats to promote and build hype around events. Let's start with the planning conversations. Like, you got Earth, Wind, and Fire, and now you're like, oh, we have to only sell like 5,000 tickets?
Right, yeah.
Right. 5,000-6,000.
Why Live? And we're bringing Zach Brown to
Right.
town, and he's amazing. But people aren't just going to find out about this. How do we sell 20,000 tickets? Like, what were some of the planning mechanisms that you went through, and some of the advice that you have for our people? By the way, if you could share this with a friend, they would appreciate it, because you probably have a summer event coming up, an open house,
right,
to a nonprofit fundraiser, whatever you're involved with. This is going to be valuable information for you.
I think one of the major points of success for us and how we focused our energies at JAC and at Covelli Centre was everybody sort of worked together to move the process ahead. Everyone had the end goal of putting butts in seats, right? So if everyone has the same goal, your strategy sort of develops from there. So for example, obviously sponsorship sales. We want to be able to make sure that the sponsors of the event are getting some value and feeling like their sponsorship dollars that they're spending with us have value. So what does that look like then? Adding in a traditional marketing mix where they're going to get eyeballs not only at the actual event, but in the time leading up to the event. And then that gives them some sort of ownership of the event. They're able to tangibly see butts and seats, but also, oh, hey, there's my logo, or there's my signage, and this is really amazing. We're reaching a demographic that maybe we didn't consider before.
Interesting.
And that's why I'm a huge proponent, when we're sitting down and we're looking at clients' overall marketing plans, I am a huge proponent of going out and trying to secure sponsorships that make sense to whatever goal that they're trying to accomplish, because it's, like Kelsey was starting to say, it is such a great way to expand your footprint in a way that maybe you hadn't considered before, because you are tagged in not only in the actual event, but also in all of the media buys that lead up to that event, or even the post-press as well, that you might get for the event. So it's just a really great integrated way to expand your footprint in a way that maybe you hadn't considered. And also, to Kelsey's point about securing sponsorships, it's important too, when you're marketing an event such as like a Y Live, that you identify sponsors to go after that also have that same community mind that you do. Kelsey mentioned, like, everybody has the same end goal. So we were strategic and sort of the partners that we asked to be part of that event, because we knew that they wanted something in the community that big to succeed.
That makes sense. I just want to shout out a couple people. Stacy, thank you for dropping by. Joe Jurgensen and the Robintech team, awesome. Thank you for dropping by. Joe's a breakout session leader at DOYO Live, and we're talking about elegant, responsive, interactive web design with Joe and his squad that have been around for 20 years and doing some amazing things in the web environment. He's going to be coming up for Columbus to talk. One of our many, actually many, that's a little bit of an exaggeration. We had 60 people submit to speak at DOYO Live. We had 10 actually get in. We may add a few more speakers. And interesting topics, everything from social media to B2B marketing to technology, B2C. It's all going to work. It's all going to play out on August 1st and 2nd. So coming back to, I share the same, this is why we decided to work with one another, because I share the same sentiment. My belief, my philosophy, from a sponsorship perspective, I can't ever minimize the name on the sign, on the logo. But I feel like we oftentimes, sponsorship to a lot of organizations that sell them feel like we're going to put your logo on this, and we're done.
Right.
And my philosophy from day one is that we're going to integrate our sponsors into our platform, and through the day that they sign on, through DOYO Live, and even afterwards, and whether we have to provide some consulting, that nobody ever sees the light of day, or the signage, the web, and all those other things, we want to provide value in that capacity beyond just the logo on the sign, and that's done well for us.
Well, and that's one of the specialties of our business as well. There is a lot of need, I feel like, for us to look at what a client has out in sponsorships. There are certain clients out there that do annual sponsorships every year, but maybe those sponsorships aren't necessarily getting them any kind of added value in their overall marketing campaign for the year. So what we do is we go in, we look at what they currently have sponsorship wise, and we see how we can make that work better for them. Like, it's not enough just to slap your logo next to the event logo.
Yep. That's
not enough. You really need to make sure that sponsorship does what it's supposed to do, which is strategically expand your footprint.
Yep.
Well, and I'd also like to say one of the key components is our local media here. We are so fortunate in the Youngstown market in particular that we have amazing traditional media partners. All the TV stations, all the radio stations, our print partners, they all have, anytime that in my experience, anytime that we've ever done,
you've done, like, over the past decade, you've done some of the biggest events that this community has seen over the past 100 years.
And really startup events. Talk about, I know we keep going back to Y Live, but talk about a really, really scary event to approach. Any startup event, no matter what the size is scary. And we brought it to our media partners, and immediately they were in. They were excited, and they were willing to give us so much extra value, and they saw ownership in the event.
Which has been that's runs consistent with us. Valley Digital Services, a year-long sponsor, second year in a row, very graciously sponsoring the conference through WFMJ and the Vindicator.
Right.
And it's been a great partnership to where you came up with a really creative idea for DOYO Live this year, and that's integrating. We're so heavy on digital. A lot of that has to deal with budget, less than traditional media.
Sure.
And so we've gone that route. But you came up with the idea of, like, working with Andrea DiPaolo and saying, okay, if you're a DOYO Live sponsor, not only do you get this on the digital side with the DOYO platform, but now we're going to create some traditional advertising opportunities, which I think is genius.
Right, and it's those are the people. So you're sort of like building your tribe of people to believe in the event that you're doing. So they're the people that are your foxhole people that you can go to and say, hey, you know what? Ticket sales are slow. How can we put our heads together?
So we go back to this too, because we jumped into the sponsorship aspect, and from an attendance perspective, how much do you lean on those sponsors then at that point to help you with event attendance?
Well, and that's part of identifying. That is part of sponsorship, is identifying sponsors who are also going to in turn support the attendance in the event. So, you go after people, like Kelsey was saying, who are community minded, who also have skin in the game, who want the event to be a success as well.
Because nobody wants to invest all of this money in sponsorship dollars and have no one show up to the event. So you sort of identify these people that get that concept, and you explain it to them as such, and then they're able to have some sort of ownership over it, and they want the event to do well, but they're also willing to put some of their assets out there as well. So if it's a bank or a car dealer, they obviously have a brick and mortar store that you're able to go in and maybe identify some signage opportunities in the store. So it's just really all about hitting those people 4 and 5 times, whether it be in a traditional mix, or in a guerrilla mix, or a grassroots mix, or a digital mix. Just really identifying.
So Deanna Facila's on. Thank you for dropping that by, Deanna. Deanna's running a deep dive workshop at DOYO Live in 2018 on social media marketing. Dr. Mike Sevilla is partnering up with Fortunato Figliano, my doppelganger from the Centers for Hearing, and they're going to be doing a breakout session on purpose-driven marketing activities, which is really cool. Dr. Mike's back, a big supporter of our event. And I was talking with Deanna over the past week, and we were talking a little bit off air about this, is that like it was like a social media, email marketing, website visit, email marketing, social media, and then somebody converted and they bought, I think, maybe a ticket to DOYO Live. So, like, what do you want to give the credit to?
Right.
And we focus in on that, and holistically, it's like everything.
Exactly.
It's like creating all these different touch points are, as you know, and obviously with content that's exciting and interesting as well, because we're flooded with so much stuff that, like, you know, if you just don't have good content, it's like what stands out.
And sorry, go ahead.
We'll do this.
Who's older?
I am
She
by
is.
just 1 minute, but that's.
How does that work, by the
I know,
way?
she-
You're usually like the older one's bossy.
She is.
Well,
She's
you-
more bossy.
I'm not. No, you're more bossy than I am. We'll do this 9,000 more times throughout the course of this Facebook Live too. Now I forget what I was going to say. I totally lost my train of thought because I was busy saying, no, you're bossy.
Yeah.
I think what I was getting at was saying about how marketing,
points.
marketing is sort of a layering thing where, you know, like you were saying, you gotta hit them in different ways because not everybody lives online 24/7, contrary to popular belief. We don't live online 24 hours a day. We do sometimes have to get in the car and go to the grocery store and buy milk and eggs and bread. So maybe radio makes sense then, hit them there. Maybe a billboard makes sense if you're trying to do brand awareness or brand identity type initiatives. So yeah, I think it all works together, and it's really identifying the tactics that lend and complement each other well in a holistic kind of way. But I also think that's why I'm a really big fan of event marketing, because you talked about how do you hit somebody, how do you like capture their attention, because there is so much noise in the overall marketplace, and that is why I'm a huge fan of event marketing. Because take DOYO for example, you have approximately 300 people. That is a captive, targeted audience. And it makes a whole lot of sense if you are trying to reach that demographic that attends DOYO to do some sort of advertising or sponsorship within that event.
Yeah, and I think that even 3 years in, we still have an awareness issue. I mean,
Well,
but the reality is this, is that there's 300,000 people on LinkedIn that live within 65 miles of Youngstown, Ohio, that have a marketing in their title. Mm-hmm. So we definitely, but the also by design, as I have built this community and the contributors that are, you know, with the community and pulling everybody along, to try to give you as much exposure to build your business in the process, is that the slow growth to me is creating long-term fans.
Yes.
Right. So if you're part of, like, you got an Apple phone. Apple could pretty much drop the ball on the iPhone 10, and you're like, I don't know, I like Apple. And people wait online, you know, to go get a new phone. And we're trying to build that brand equity to where, yeah, would it be great to sell 1,000 tickets to DOYO Live? Yeah, it would be. It'd be like, that would be amazing. But really, at the end of the day, we want that fan base to grow and be evangelists for us, because they have an amazing experience, they learn something, that sort of thing.
And I think, to your credit, when we sort of came in and started working together, when we first brought up the idea of adding in a traditional marketing mix, and by that I mean some print, some TV, some radio, I appreciate you listening to what we had to say, because this is a digital.
Well, you know,
conference.
so here's the interesting thing, is that I'm pigeonholed now with branding it as a digital marketing conference, but I'm really about this being disruptive.
Right.
And where are the eyeballs? So many of the eyeballs are online, and the reason why you turn to digital is because if you don't have a big budget, you can't just go spend your way to success. But I'm more about being disruptive than I am more about being digital.
Right, and that's the overall point that I want to make is that in marketing there are no bad ideas, and you have to sort of take the ego out of it, because you could have said, this is a digital conference, we're living on digital, that's it. But taking into consideration what the Youngstown market
You should tell my wife this story. She would adamantly disagree with you.
But taking into consideration also the market that you are living and working in is important. So what works in the Youngstown DMA isn't going to work in the Pittsburgh DMA, or it might work a little bit differently. So having been on the flip side of the event marketing, I know that our market is still extremely...
Look, here's what I say all the time, because I hear people, like, I've done interviews, and, like, people are like, they've contradicted what I've said in like, my opinion, their opinion. It's great. People have different views of opinion. And there was this comment that was made a year or two that was like, retarget. I was like, retargeting is a fine opportunity, like, in digital marketing. People are like, well, you go out and buy something and you're wasting money, because, like, I'm still getting Dick's Sporting Goods advertisements about the bat that I was researching for Michael in his Little League Baseball. And I'm still getting those ads, but that's fine. Like, so, but my point is this: if you take anything off the table for consideration, you're going to lose.
100%.
You're like, if you start to, I'm not going to do the anecdotal, like, I know this will work, and then statistical data that drives those decisions as well, because we now have that opportunity. If you're like, print doesn't work, it's dead, then you know what, that's fine. I'm glad you're my competition, because you're going to lose. Because you need to really, at this point, you can't take anything off the table, I guess is the point.
Right, and that is really where strategy comes in, because, I mean, in a perfect world, we would have an unlimited budget that, nothing would ever be off the table, and we could do everything.
Look,
all the tactics in the world that we could.
I come back to the Super Bowl, $3 million for the placement, a couple $1 million in creative, and somebody put out a statistic for me that said, like, I don't know, it was like only like 90% of Facebook or the Super Bowl ads don't convert. But that means that 10% do, and there's 100 million people that watch the Super Bowl. That means, would you like 10 million new customers tomorrow? I mean, I don't know.
And it's getting, I think sort of as marketers, obviously our job is to evaluate the plan, and a lot of times the numbers is what is the biggest evaluation tool. But I don't think that it tells the full story, because to your point, what might look on paper like a fail in terms of numbers is not technically a fail, because you're playing the long game. You're trying to get in front of people, and I think sometimes I heard this quote one time: numbers don't lie, but liars use numbers.
You heard that from me.
Andrea, thank you for dropping by. I don't know if you were on. We were talking about your sponsorship to DOYO Live, but thanks for coming back in the second year. We have some amazing sponsorship packages available for you on our website. We deliver 225,000 online impressions each month. Little DOYO Live platform. 5,000 opt-in email subscribers that apparently our new marketing automation tools sent out the same email to people 3 times this morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. So that was a big mistake. But
now you only got to hit them 2 more times today and you're good.
Yeah, we'll live to fight another day. But we have various packages. Kollin is actually handling all of these sponsorships for us, so her name is littered throughout the entire sponsorship package on the DOYO Live page. We've got some really awesome options. Have the conversation, by the way. Just because you look and read it, we can tailor the bullet points. It's a starting point in the conversation.
Right. And that's what I always say, too. It's like, and that goes for marketing in general. It's not one size fits all, just like sponsorships aren't one size fits all. So if you're interested in being involved with DOYO in any sort of sponsorship way, send me an email and we'll work something out.
Yeah, and the cool thing is, too, is that we're integrating now with WFMJ. We're able to come up with, Andrea worked with Kollin and Kelsey to come up with some creative marketing opportunities with advertisement with those platforms as well. So it's more broadly focused. And so kind of one more element to this. You're talking about numbers, and I get asked this question a lot. Like, what was your goal number for DOYO Live? And obviously, to a financial viability of the conference, you have to obviously make some money to put the event on, bare bones, right? I mean, but at the end of the day, it was never from day one about selling out the venue, which we've done 2 years in a row, and why we've had to go to the Dior for a bigger venue. And it was very humbling to see that we wanted to get 150 people to come to DOYO Live in year one, and we went 200 people and had to cap it, and 300 the next year. And I think right now we're 30% ahead on ticket sales versus last year and the previous year. And that's it's really great, but at the end of the day, it's always been for me about delivering an amazing experience.
Right.
And if I can deliver an amazing experience where you come and you learn something, and it sounds a little bit cheesy, but you learn something that you can implement in your business, you make a meaningful connection of somebody that you're either going to do business with, you're going to get hired, you're going to have a new client, and you have just a great time, then we've delivered on something that I think that the numbers will take care of themselves.
Right, agreed.
Where I think it becomes important from a numbers perspective is getting the word out about that experience so more people obviously can enjoy it.
Right, absolutely.
And Covelli didn't happen overnight, right? I mean, everybody knows now at this point when JAC Live puts on an event, like, you're going to get a great show, you're going to get, great sound quality, and you're going to have a really good experience.
Right, and it is like we've been sort of referring to this entire session, it is the long game. It's marketing is all about it's all about the long game and having that be in the forefront of what your strategy is.
All right, so now we got to give like 3 pieces of advice away.
Sure.
Oh,
so
all right, so
I would say
you're going to be working on marketing and finding sponsors for your event.
Okay, so go ahead.
Okay, so
you're letting her go.
I'm letting her go first.
That's because she can't. That's because she has pregnancy brain right now, and she just could not remember what she was going to say.
Actually
and she looks amazing, right? You're doing another.
I'm 8 months right now, so I'm due May 3rd. So we're in the home stretch.
Good stuff.
Now if I say what you were going to say, you got to think of something else on the fly. So my first piece of advice is, if you're looking for sponsors, that's the first thing, right?
Okay,
you're looking for sponsors for your event.
You got a charity golf outing you're going to put on. A big event down at the Dior.
Okay, so first piece of advice is, if you're looking for sponsors for that advice, make sure you create a lead list of people who you want to go after that makes sense to sponsor that event. So, like we talked about earlier, you want to make sure that you identify people who would want to advertise their business to golfers or other business owners or something. You want to be strategic in who you choose to be on your first wave of people who you go after for sponsorships.
Okay.
So number two is when you're developing your sponsorship package after you've developed your lead list. So this is the package that you go and pitch to your potential leads. You want to incorporate a media mix that makes sense. So not only in event signage or in event exposure, but also how can you expand that person's footprint outside of the actual event that's happening in a physical location, and employing the use of traditional media partners to help propel your event forward.
That's good advice.
3. Or did you have 3?
I don't have 3.
Okay, I have 3. Okay, 3 is making sure that you keep your sponsors happy. So that maybe if it's an event series, or maybe if it's an event that you're doing
I'm so glad you brought this up, by the way, because this was one of the things that I wanted to ask was, how do you keep your sponsors happy?
You give them everything that you promise.
Okay.
So, how I usually stay accountable is I literally take the proposal that I gave them, that we agreed on, and I make an activation list where I can literally check off, okay, we got this sign printed that we promised them, and it's placed. we have this media placed. We have the logo placement where it's supposed to be in the digital world. So you literally go through, and if they have like tickets or like any additional like swag or anything that they're supposed to get, that got delivered this day. You know, you literally make sure that all of the activation elements that was promised in the sponsorship are all fulfilled. That's how you keep your sponsors happy, because if they're getting what they were promised, it's really simple. If they're getting what they're promised, most times they're going to be happy, and it's going to make them want to.
What I hear is deliver
again.
And communicate.
Yes, absolutely.
And just sort of like a caveat to that is, as well, is include them in the process. So if there's an article that gets printed about the event in the Vindicator, send it to them.
Yeah.
They want to know that you're getting PR out of the event that they've invested in, and so include them in that process. Include them in the signage mocks. Obviously, they want to make sure that you're compliant with their.
You know what? It was a tough. So this road for me was it was just an uncharted path, and I learned early on that like I was getting news interviews to like start name dropping sponsors' names in those interviews, which was just that was like just really important.
Yeah.
And so
you want to make sure that you can also, pay tribute to your sponsors any chance that you can get.
Right.
And also, last thing, make sure you thank them. I mean, I used to send thank you notes to my
Simple
sponsors. Yeah, or just to recognize them. Hey, we couldn't do this without you, because quite often we couldn't do it without them.
Gotcha. So my brother, my sister's husband, sending me cars.
I see that. We just saw something pop up about
why. Like
I
told him I was looking for
Plymouth.
I'm looking for a very old vintage SUV. And he's not keeping his sponsors happy. He's sending me a 65 Plymouth.
Yes. It appears to be a car. I
gotta get out of here.
And a 95 Chevrolet.
I'm going to watch.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm going to binge.
We're
for the next 3 days, starting yesterday. I am kind of an absentee father.
I mean,
my kids last night are like, "Can we watch a movie, Dad?" I'm like, if it's called March Madness, we can watch it. It's like a Cinderella story.
Yeah.
So I'm rocking my Syracuse gear here today. One of my favorite all-time basketball players, Sherman Douglas, point guard at Syracuse in the late 80s, early 90s. I broke him out. I'm not going to put him on camera.
Who do you have winning it all?
I brought my Air Jordan 3s out.
Yeah,
I commented on those earlier. They're nice kicks.
They see the light of day for a very short amount of time. So we have a bracket challenge going for DOYO Live that's presented by our Kashmiri and Associates. The winner's going to get a $2,500 sponsorship to DOYO Live. Second place gets an all-access pass, which is like a $250 value. And third place gets a ticket to the conference itself. And so right now I have Duke winning it all, because that is actually my favorite college basketball team.
I have, let me think. I think I have Virginia winning it all.
I actually don't participate in March Madness brackets, but I am an active participant in the Pizza Joe's Pizza March Madness.
Veggie all the way.
Veggie is down to the final two, and it's going to take off.
And you know what? Here's the DOYO tie. So Katie actually comes to DOYO Live. She's been.
I love Katie.
To our first 2
and
years.
Lifelong lover of Pizza Joe's.
I mean, you generally drop a business or a name like you're. A lot of these people are coming, networking, hanging out. Anyway, DOYO Live tickets are on sale for $150. That price is going to expire, go up, either way you look at it. We're having this debate. Is it expiring on April 30th, or are they going up on May 1st? But either way, they're $150 right now. And on May 1st, those prices are going up to $225. So get your ticket now. We do rapid-fire questions on the DOYO Live marketing show.
Oh, okay.
Do you know that?
No, I did not.
This
I
is a
was
surprise.
not prepared.
All right, ready?
But I'm ready.
What's on your desk in your office?
Oh, I have a bunch of stuff, but really it's typically my laptop, some folders. It's boring.
Would you put that on an Instagram story and tag us?
Yeah, I can, but it's a mess. I feel people are
What's
gonna
on
think
your
I'm
desk?
gross.
When we first started our business, my parents got us a K-squared engraved frame with a picture of us when we were little. So I have.
Oh
that.
yeah, I have that.
That's pretty cool. But that's the only cool thing on my desk. Everything else is like personal bills and folders and
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
What's on your home screen?
My daughter.
My K-squared logo.
Well, actually, both.
Represent the brand.
My
Don't
daughter
sleep on
is
it.
sitting near our K-squared coffee mug, so I have both. Yeah, she's the official mascot of K-squared.
Yeah, anybody that follows us on Instagram or Facebook, we always try to include Sydney Nicole Chuba.
I disagree with everybody. It's like, we don't like kids and puppies in marketing, but I'll tell you what, it gets a lot of likes.
Yeah, like who doesn't like kids?
And we
puppies?
got Teo face.
Yeah.
So the little boy with the big goggles
Yes,
that says we
yeah,
love this,
cute.
and then we've morphed this. So we've taken the Obey Giant. If you know anything about the guy that Stuart Freely that designed the Obama Hope poster.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
now we've taken the Teo face to one more face, and we've turned it into the Obama Hope poster.
I love it.
And we're trying to get more disruptive with that. All right. So that's on your home screen. So you've got a ton of concert experience, and you already answered the top five. Rap, rock, or country?
Ooh.
in
Country.
terms of who puts on the best show, or
Your favorite music?
Oh.
What's your go-to? What's on your mixtape?
Usually country. It like skews towards singer-songwriter stuff, but like I have Foo Fighters on there too. So
Yeah, I do
don't
too.
know. I'm very eclectic. Like my husband
yeah.
will get in the car and be like, I don't even know who this is. Why are you listening to this? And
I have everything on my go-to Spotify playlist. I have everything from punk rock to country to Kelly Clarkson to rock. So
rap is probably I don't when I work out.
yeah, I
That's
don't really
like
listen to a lot of rap.
Like I will be just jamming to some gangster rap. If I am running,
I like, you know what?
That is
I
like-
like Limp Bizkit in terms of rap. Like My Way. That's what I'm
This is
talking
where
about.
we should have started.
yes.
Typically around DOYO Liveland, it's always a hip hop Friday.
Yeah, if
Old school hip hop.
So
Like Red Rock.
Like Straight Outta Compton. I just watched Straight Outta Compton.
Oh my God.
For the first time last
So
weekend.
that's another funny thing
And
is that my
it-
wife's like, you watch all these documentaries and movies on hip hop, and it really it's interesting because the culture, if you think about how all these other forms of music dominated the landscape, and then in the early '80s, obviously hip hop hit, and they just took over, and it is that whole mentality, and it's interesting to me. I like the lyricists.
Yeah.
So I'm a Mostaf. I am a Common. I love Jay-Z.
Yeah, agreed.
I definitely go early '90s Biggie.
Yeah, of course.
I struggle with a lot of new rap.
Yeah,
Same.
I don't know any.
I'm
rap.
not.
How about the Beastie Boys? Do you like the Beastie Boys?
I definitely again lyrics they've got some awesome things going. If you listen to Paul's Boutique, is an amazing front to back. I love De La Soul. I love Tribe Called Quest. That's it. That wasn't. I wasn't supposed to get into this conversation.
I
It was
know.
about-
Well, music is yeah.
So now here's the interesting thing. You have done. You obviously So you have your go-tos in your play. So now you've worked with a lot of interesting bands and people over the years. Best show.
Oh, that is so
Okay,
hard.
I always say the best because I have a top 5. So the best, and this is in no particular order. Kiss was amazing, and I don't listen to Kiss typically. They put on an amazing
I have
show.
actually pictures of me going with Gene Simmons for Halloween in the 2nd grade.
Oh, really? Were you on the show?
Why was I
It's
dressed as Gene
It
Simmons?
was so good.
What were my parents
Amazing.
thinking?
They were so
They were cool. They were. They
Okay.
let you. Yeah.
Okay,
So
Kiss?
Earth, Wind and Fire.
Elton,
of course. I loved Carrie Underwood is just vocally the most an overwhelmingly like amazing artist. I think that we had.
Is Zach Brown?
Zach Brown I'm a huge fan of. So that, and then the event itself was just massively great.
Yeah.
Who else was
Kid Rock was
Kid
awesome.
Rock was amazing.
Awesome.
I was not a Kid Rock
so
fan
good.
before I saw him.
Motley Crue was awesome.
I've seen Kid Rock and Limp Bizkit. I thought both of the energy and 311's energy was just through the roof.
Yeah, incredible. Let me think. There's so many. It's so hard.
Yeah.
We've had I'll tell you what. There's been more impressively amazing shows. Even at JAC actually also manages Packard Music Hall.
Right.
So some of those smaller, more intimate shows are really, really cool as well.
Listen, by the way, Jay's never shared with you some of her concert experiences. Do yourself a favor, find a happy hour. She's been like a backup dancer.
Oh my God, I know she has. No, she
has lived like such a full life.
Yeah.
Hey, Faye Jack. That's right. I'm repping. Remember last year I did this show with Faye Jack. I have to say I did a big upgrade this year.
Oh, I don't know. It doesn't get much.
I'm joking, Ralph.
But
I'm joking.
Yeah.
You know what, Ralph's
did beer with Ralph.
Ralph's
So,
a
like,
4-time legend of the DOYO Live marketing show, and he's probably due for a repeat performance.
Yeah.
So we've got to get him back.
Stay sassy.
All right, most controversial question that you're going to get all week
Okay.
on the DOYO Live marketing show. Best pizza in Youngstown.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
why?
I was nervous that this was going to be like, who'd you vote for in the election?
I'm not even going that lightly, Ralph.
Yeah, that's a good.
I mean, it's like
So best pizza.
I don't know. Best pizza. It's hard. Okay, so, and I'm gonna go with no particular order again. Pizza Joe's Kid for life.
Yeah,
Love
the
these
veggie
guys.
pizza is life.
Wedgwood,
Everything.
pizza, Bellaria,
Coca's. You know what?
you're naming them all. It was supposed to be
can't
the
help
best
it.
pizza, not the
but
best
it's
pizza
so-
parlors in
No,
Youngstown.
listen though, they all like I love them for different reasons. So it's like I can't pick. I mean, like
I've had people who actually go pizza by pizza. So, like, being that we are obviously in a pizza-heavy environment, people have a favorite pepperoni place.
yes, I
And they have a
totally
favorite
agree.
Briar Hill place.
So my favorite pepperoni and
Aren't you from
sausage.
Struthers?
No, we're from Springfield.
You are.
Yeah, that's why we're Pizza Joe's kids.
People always think we're from Struthers though
Because
because
of
of
the-
Eric.
Yeah.
You're like, you
honored.
didn't put the Elton on that list. That was like,
I don't like
I am not a
Elton.
fan
Sorry.
of the Swiss cheese. I just
No.
can't. I can't. I can't. I know.
Swiss cheese.
I'm
I'll tell
sorry.
you how much I love the Elton pizza. When I go there and I get pizza, I have to eat a slice on the way home.
Oh, really?
I'm
See, if
I'll tell you
I
what.
lived my whole life without eating Elton
Speaking
again,
of Eric Ryan, we always would have Pizza Friday. That we implemented Pizza Friday.
Oh, yeah, in
when
the
we would
office.
We got in one of our biggest arguments ever over pizza.
over what to order, which pizza to
Friday.
order. Yeah.
I mean,
Kelsey left. She was
I
so
left
mad.
the
She
office.
left.
It's a religion.
Yeah.
It's a religion.
so that's
here.
how seriously we take our pizza.
All right, passionate about pizza. Well, I've been doing this pizza question for a long time, and I don't know. I
We
think
just love pizza.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
it.
Every Friday. It's an every Friday.
and everybody who knows us knows that like we're like
Pizza is life.
yeah.
all right. So, last good book that you read.
I'm reading Sleep Training for Babies because I'm selfish and I want sleep. So can't say that's a really good book.
But it's a book that you're reading.
I read.
Listen,
Tina
I got a little
Fey-
bit of experience at this, by the way. If you need help with
Yeah,
sleep training,
Yeah.
it's like do a lot of this.
Yeah. and praying. Please go to sleep. Please go to sleep.
I read Tina Fey Bossy Pants. And
Yeah?
I loved it.
Okay.
I know that's an old one, but
Is
I
it?
just read. Yeah, it's a few years old. I read that and I absolutely love it.
So I read To Kill a Mockingbird once a year. It is my all-time favorite book. In my opinion, it is like the best book ever written. And
Lessons online. You read it once a year.
I read it once a year.
the ending
and
ever
I don't,
change?
no, but
You find new meaning.
The things that
Okay.
I take from it are different every time I read it, depending on where I'm at and my.
It's
year.
like me when I watch like the Naked Gun movie series. Like I just find new jokes every time I watch it.
Yes.
Yeah.
My depth is just not there.
Yeah. Well, listen, I watch the same thing. Like I tend to watch the same movies over and over again for the same reason. Like The Departed is on all the time on TV, and I watch The Departed every time it's on TV because I notice different things.
So we'll digress for a moment. I've got approximately 5 more minutes to kill.
Yeah.
Good cop, bad cop. Who is bad and who is good in The Departed and Leonardo DiCaprio and Matt Damon?
Huh. That's...
Who is good and who is bad?
Because it's very
they
easy.
both do bad things.
Well, they're
Okay.
both motivated by different things. So I guess you have to sort of look at, what are their motivations? Are their motivations good or bad? And I think that Leonardo's character's motivations are good. I mean, obviously he's trying to take down the bad guys.
Okay.
But I think that Matt Damon's character's motivations are a little bit more self-serving. And I think like Leonardo DiCaprio's
To the
are
dad
good.
that pulled him off the street when he had no parents and no money.
But I
and
think,
fed him.
but I think the dad pulled him off the street for selfish reasons,
But
so
he
that
did-
he could make this soldier for him in the.
He didn't know anything.
So now it becomes a justification of wrongdoing.
Yeah.
Like you're justifying like, okay, so Leonardo DiCaprio's role in the movie and his motivation, he was able to do bad things because he was a police officer trying to solve a crime.
Yeah.
Matt Damon's bad behavior was justified based upon the fact that he had a paternal instinct to protect somebody that adopted him when he was basically left in the gutter.
Right. And
Tough
he
thing to
didn't
turn
know-
your back
And
on.
he didn't know any better. You know, it's like if you're raised in that environment,
Yeah.
you think that's normal.
I get in this argument all the time with my
Yeah.
wife. She's like, first of all, you're an idiot. 'Cause- anyway,
No, but that's why I love the movie. Like,
Wow.
there's just so much meat there, you know.
okay.
And who doesn't love Jack Nicholson?
I've got to get
Or
home
Leonardo DiCaprio.
to go watch
Or Matt Damon. I mean, come on, it's a great cast.
Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin. Marky Mark.
Alec Baldwin's character in that
Oh
movie
my
is
God.
the best when he just walks in and he like slugs somebody.
Yeah, the guy who like forgot to put the camera surveillance in the back of the building. I love that.
Marky Mark might be my favorite character.
Yeah, when he walks by like Matt Damon's office and just flips him the bird.
Were
I
you
mean,
an
that's
Entourage?
incredible. I love Entourage. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
TV and movie person, music person. We watch it all.
Radio Player One. All right, here we go. Best business advice you either get or you give.
I think a lost practice in business is honesty, and I think you need to be, and I know that maybe sounds cliche, but I think you need to be honest with yourself and honest with what your abilities are, because that's really going to shape the trajectory of your career and your business.
I recently just got this piece of advice from my family doctor, actually, when I was in there not too long ago, and he said, no matter what business that you're in, it takes 5 years to totally develop and to be in a place of comfort, but you should never get complacent. So you should always be looking to, you should not get discouraged before that 5-year mark, but you can't get complacent after that 5-year mark either.
Good piece of advice. I appreciate both of you.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Appreciate
This
you,
was fun.
you being on, and I appreciate everything that you're doing for DOYO Live. Doing some awesome things.
We're excited to
and
be part of it.
Appreciate the fact that you're involved in the conference this year. Thank you for dropping by today. I'm out. I'm going to watch some hoops. DOYO Live tickets, $150. They go up on. The price goes up, or the offer expires. Anyway, April 30th at midnight. That's it. That's all we got.
We're going to get some pizza.
Yeah.
Pizza time. I know, right? Yeah. See ya.